Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, September the 13th. It's a little after 9 a.m. in the Century Jury Room of the Ralph H. Walton Jr. Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. We're very pleased here this morning to have Father Stuart Smith from the Good Shepherd Anglican Church to give our invocation. So welcome, Father.
You all might want to sit for just a second because I'm going to say just a few words. I don't like, if your permission, I don't like to smuggle sermons into prayer. So stand or sit according to your comfort. I want to say a few words on the difference between public versus private speech and behavior. At work or at public meetings, we're on our best behavior. We preachers dress up and try to watch our words a little bit. I want to talk about public versus private speech and behavior. At work or at public meetings, we're on our best behavior, thinking of presenting the most honorable, honest, and discreet words and actions. But at home, well, we have trusted, relaxed behavior. Words don't have to be carefully chosen so as not to offend. We are at ease and not on guard. But what about this strange hybrid called the social network? Which rules apply, public or private? Now, no one is there when you text or post to Facebook or Instagram or host your podcast yet. You choose to broadcast it as if it were intended as public speech. Behold, all the freedom and limited responsibility of home or private speech, and all the power of dissemination of an instant, unaccountable medium such as YouTube or Facebook. I would beseech you all, as I beseech myself, let your public behavior be matched by your private and your social medium behavior. What is deceitful and vicious behavior or speech in one cannot be acceptable in another of these three venues. From the letter of James. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on of hell. For every kind of beasts, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed, and hath been tamed of mankind. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be. Doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries, either a vine figs? So can no fountain both yield salt and fresh. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this wonderful nation, county, and city that you've placed us in. We thank you for the freedoms that our founders endued to us and laid down their lives to protect. We thank you for this county commissioners group, each member. Pour out upon each of them holy wisdom, patience, tolerance, love for one another, and hearts that seek to do your will. Through Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
If you would please join me in the pledge of the United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now honor Texas, please. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank y'all very much. I don't think I need to remind anybody because I've got so many public participation forms up here, but today is the first Tuesday or the second Tuesday of the month, and we have open mic. We have 10 speakers up here. Normally it's 5 minutes, so we got 10 speakers for a maximum of 30 minutes, so everybody will be allowed 3 minutes. So please, if you want to speak on any other agenda item, you must also, and we have some of those items here, you must fill out a public participation form, hand it to Sheriff Deeds, and Sheriff Deeds will then fill it out and hand it to Gene Armstrong, who will then mark it and bring it up to me, and we will call on you at the appropriate time. So right now in the program, we have a very special time, and I'm happy to have our famous ladies here that are always up here. And I'm going to pass these if y'all can sign them. This is Constitution Week, and I have some lovely ladies that are very patriotic here. I want them to please come up to the podium here, and you're going to take a picture of them. Who's going to read this? Ms. Harris, are you going to read this?
Yes, sir, I will be most happy to.
Okay. We're going to get everybody signed so we can give you one copy to take with you, and we're going to file one. Is that all right?
Thank you.
You're going to introduce these lovely ladies. Some of them,
Yes.
we don't want to know some of these ladies up here. Now, trust me, there's a couple of troublemakers up here.
Well, I'm Jean Harris, and I'm the regent of the Precinct chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution. And I have the honor of introducing to you some of the other chapter members. This is Margaret Cook, the honorary regent, and also our current chapter chaplain. So a little bit of a tongue twister there. We have Katie Lee, who's been our treasurer many times, and our current historian. And lastly over here, but not least, Oline Roberts, who's twice been recording secretary, and an amazing lady that keeps me on track. So we all need that. So thank you for having us today.
These ladies are very important. They are always up here for anything that's VAR, I mean, everything up here. So I'm going to let you keep the real pretty copy here and let you read from that, and then we'll file this
And then I
copy.
posted on our sites.
Okay, so,
yes.
all right.
Thank you.
Please, you can step up there and read it to everybody, and y'all can all have your picture.
This is to designate September 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of a limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law. And whereas September 17th, 2022 marks the 235th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fittingly proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Therefore, I, Ron Masseyville, Judge of Hood County, along with all the members of the Hood County Commissioner's Court, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. In in witness thereof, and it has the signatures of the judge and the county commissioners.
Good. Y'all want to get a picture?
Got it. Thank you.
Yay. Thank y'all very much. Yes, please.
Last moment of me up here. September 17th, this Saturday, we invite you to join us at the courthouse lawn. At 4 o'clock, we're going to have the ringing of the bells at the gazebo to commemorate the signing of the Constitution. And then from 4:30 to 6:30, our illustrious Peggy Freeman is going to coordinate us all to portray heroes of the American Revolution. We'll be all in costume. She calls it the Circle of Liberty. It's a lot of fun. It's very casual, come and go, no charge. So please join us. Thank you.
Good deal. Thank you. All right, the next on here is we're proud to have Dr. Donald Kelm here from Texas A&M AgriLife that's going to give us a presentation of the highlights and updates from Texas A&M. Good morning. Good to see you, Doctor. Good. How are you doing? Good.
Thanks, Judge. As Judge said, my name's Donald Kelm. I'm the District Extension Administrator with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service for District 8. And this is my annual report, my opportunity to, one, on behalf of Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, to tell you how much we appreciate the support you provide the extension program here in Hood County. Without that support, we wouldn't be able to have the program that we have. We wouldn't be able to provide education impacting the clientele with the issues that they've determined through our issue identification process and so on. Also, it gives me an opportunity to brag on my agents here in Hood County, and we'll get into some specifics for Hood County on the back. But I always bring a newsletter, and on the front, I highlight something that's going on across all 21 counties in District 8, which Hood County is one of those 21. And this year, it's 4-H. So all my annual visits with my commissioners' courts, I'm highlighting District 8 4-H. And on the front, you can see I start out with scholarships. Last year in 2021 at Texas 4-H Roundup, there were 36 kids from District 8 that received 4-H scholarships through the 4-H Foundation. That total, we brought back $421,500 back to District 8. In 2021 at State 4-H Roundup, one of those 36 was a Hood County 4-H'er that brought back $10,000 scholarship to the Hood County 4-H program. This year, I'm proud to say we had 34 4-H'ers from District 8 receive scholarships in June, and we brought back $435,000 back to District 8. So y'all know the quality of youth in Hood County, the quality of youth in our 4-H programs across District 8. Then you can go into the 4-H projects. You can see on our Big 5 projects in District 8, the numbers in ag and livestock, family community health, leadership, natural resources, and STEM. Those are 4-H'ers that have on their enrollment form signed up for one of those, one or two or multiple of those Big 5 project areas. And then we go into our district contest participation in ag and natural resources. You can see dairy, cattle judging, holiday classic, horse judging. That's all our different contests that 4-H'ers qualify for to participate at the district level, as well as our family community health project areas, the fashion show, fashion storyboard, Duds to Dazzle, and so on. Leadership and personal development, you can see the Leaders for Life, Leadership Lab, photography, roundup, and so on. And then also we have ambassador programs, and I'll talk about that on the back, highlighting Hood County 4-H participation. District 8 4-H Surge or Leadership, that's our premier leadership event for our senior age 4-H members. It focuses on leadership development, and Hood County has had 4-Hers participate in that in 2021 and this past summer in 2022. Most important part of my visit today is what's happening in Hood County. And on the back of the newsletter, you can see what London and Hannah's efforts have been. And again, it's a snapshot in Ag and Natural Resources. One of the main roles that London plays is working with those master gardeners. Without them, just as the partnership that we have with the Commissioners Court, without those master gardeners extending our reach out into the community, we wouldn't be able to have that program. And those 75 master gardeners have contributed 5,500 hours. If you take that times the $29.90, what they value a volunteer hour at, that's $164,000 of in-kind assistance that those volunteers have provided. And that shows you the value of those volunteers. They do monthly programs, they do plant sale, they do the annual Romancing the Monarch Festival and work with the demonstration garden in that. Again, a valuable part of the extension program. The Tri-County Landowner Development Series, that's a series of programs that London works with the agents in Johnson and Somerville County to provide educational information to the landowners in the county. Some of those topics are tax evaluation, weed and brush control, food nutrition programs on small acreage livestock, whether it be sheep, goats, a few head of cattle in that, but that's just a part of some of the programming. And then in the future, they'll be focusing some horticulture efforts on tree and nut programs, as well as general horticulture presentations. In Family Community Health, a snapshot of what Hannah's had going on, the annual Child Care Conference. That's a partnership with Tarleton State University. It's kind of a regional child care providers conference. You can see in 2021 there were 80 attendants. We just got through Saturday the 10th with this year's conference, and there were 83 in attendance. And those child care providers are provided information in order to get their clock hours to maintain their certification. Our Walk Across Texas program, Hannah's got participants in there, logging miles. The Better Living for Texans program, it's a state-funded program focusing on nutrition education for our SNAP-Ed recipients. You can see the number of participants at the different locations, and then the 200 contacts at several little health fairs that are done at the Crescent Pods community, and the expansion of the BLT program to other audiences around the county. 4-H and youth development, the 4-H club membership, we have 8 clubs with 137 enrolled at the end of this 4-H year, which ended in August. Livestock projects, you can see how many entries with how many 4-Hers showing them in the Hood County Family Living Division, the numbers there. The 4-H contest that I talked about on the front with district participation, you can see the number that participated at the county as well as the district, and then the summer camps that they have at the office, and then curriculum enrichment where they take information to the schools, reaching over 1,000 plus kids. The other one I wanted to highlight is our youth ambassador programs, whether it be healthy lifestyles, whether it be livestock, photography, water, horse, or whatever it may be, and shooting sports. These 4-H members choose to go participate in a training in order to get certified, they have to come back to the county, their county, and help the agents with their educational effort. Hood County has 1 livestock ambassador at this time and 2 shooting sports ambassadors. So those are 4-H'ers that stepped up and assumed leadership roles. So again, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for your support, and I can't thank you enough on behalf of Extension for that support. It's always fun to come over and visit with you. And so forth. Also y'all know, on a selfish side, I appreciate your support of the annual Judge and Commissioners Conference. Again, it'll be a little closer for you. We had a little snafu in scheduling at MCC. So Bosque County, we're going to have it at the Civic Center in Meridian. First Wednesday, November 2nd. Agenda's all set, 6 3/4 hours, CEUs for commissioners, and as usual, that meal, I'll put my neck on the line for that.
That's
so,
it.
thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. That's a good report. Thank you. We're proud to be part of this 4-H thing. And London and Hannah do a wonderful job, too. So thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Okay, we have no service awards today. So our next, thank you, Hannah, and thank you, London. Y'all do a great job. Okay, so we have 10 citizens at large comments. Now, these are comments that the citizens are allowed to speak on any topic that they choose, and it will be for a maximum of 3 minutes. And Dean, you're going to keep the time records on this. And the first speaker is, and by the way, the commissioners cannot answer questions or interact with you. You just get your 3 minutes. The first speaker is Christine Leftwich. Ms. Leftwich.
Okay, I want to let you know when I get finished, I will be providing documentation to attest to the truth and veracity about which I'm going to speak. My name is Christine Leftwich. I'm speaking on behalf of the Hood County Real Republicans PAC, a political action committee whose mission is to inform voters and candidates about candidates running in local elections. I'm also speaking as a citizen of Hood County to express myself to this court on a relevant issue involving county government. The county clerk is responsible for keeping this court's books, papers, records, and effects, and attest to the accuracy of the record each time court is held. Commissioners Court is a very important part of our county government, as is the role of the county clerk in maintaining records and ensuring the proper execution of this court's power and duties. It is a position of trust and credibility of character. Harold Granick is a candidate running for county clerk. I'm not here to demean Mr. Granick, but simply make the public aware of litigated proceedings by the Texas Medical Board and affirmed findings of a state appellate court which speak to the character of this candidate. It is in the public's best interest of our county government, and the interest of this Commissioner's Court to be fully informed. In 2001, the Texas Medical Board filed a complaint against Harold Granick on 8 separate counts of sexual indecency and fondling patients. 8 counts, 1 for each patient who came forward. Harold Granick had his medical license suspended by the board for fondling the breasts of female patients. This is a finding of fact in the board decision. Granick was given 3 years probation and ordered not to treat female patients. Harold Granick violated that order by continuing to treat female patients, and suspension and probation were extended for 3 more years. He subsequently appealed to a state district court, ultimately to a state appellate court. The appellate court found that the order was supported by substantial evidence, and they affirmed the district court's judgment, which affirmed the medical board's final order. In layman's terms, the medical board suspended his license. The district court agreed with the medical board, as did the appellate court. In a conclusion of law in the medical board decision, Granick engaged in, and I quote, unprofessional and dishonorable conduct that was likely to deceive, defraud, or injure the public. This individual is running to be our next county clerk and the keeper of the records of this court. I think it is clear why this is an issue of interest to our county government and the citizens of Hood County, and so shall they be informed. I am providing the court with the Texas Medical Board final order, the appellate court opinion affirming that order, local government code outlining the duties and responsibilities of the county clerk to this court and excerpts from the Texas Democratic Platform of 2022. I encourage all citizens who wish to verify this information to make an open records request. Thank you.
Okay, next is Carolyn Reeves. Ms. Reeves?
Good morning. My name is Carolyn Reeves. I'd like to address a new development coming into my area off of Neri Road. Most of us have 15 acres or more, and we love our privacy. That's why we moved there. Recently, you approved of a development off of Neri Road with 2-acre lots. This will be a big impact on our wells, on our roads, and our septic systems, and also the environment. With just 2-acre lots, it puts a lot more traffic on that road. It's dangerous. We already have a lot of traffic on that road, and I've almost gotten in a head-on collision because people are speeding. And with 22 more lots on that road, it's going to be a stress on all of us there. They have bike rides through there because it is so beautiful, and it's because of the acreage. So I oppose this development, and I know y'all approved it, and I know it's a private property, but I would hope you can take into consideration that maybe it should have been larger lots to sustain the wells and the septics and the roadways out there. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Lisa Bordeaux. Ms. Bordeaux?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all today? My name is Lisa Bordeaux. I live across from Comanche Peak, off of Peak Road, and I'm here actually on behalf of what we've put together as the Comanche Peak Coalition. And this is in addition to what Carolyn Reeves has presented. This has to do with the Oakwater Ranch development that has been proposed. A final plat was approved at the July Commissioners Court meeting, and that plat was filed on August 16th. That plat contemplates 22 homes. And to Carolyn's point, it's going to be increased traffic, a drain on our water reserves, and I think it will have a great environmental impact. I've also learned that there's going to be a second plat filed soon, which will add 2 more 2-acre lots. And eventually, based on the restrictions that have put of record, it will turn it into 61 lots. So, and I'm sure as you know, the Opportunity Groundwater District is a 4-county, Hood, Parker, Wise, and Montague authority, and it has authority over the ground, water, and water wells. In connection with the approval of the plat, we were concerned that whether the Commissioners Court was aware of whether the Opportunity Groundwater District prepared a groundwater study to see what the water table is and available in the water in the area. Also, a few years ago, the Opportunity Groundwater District had asked the Commissioners Court to adjust the residential rural areas to 5-acre tracts to save groundwater and get away from the 2-acre tracts for future development. We also want to know if there's been any study or water data in this area that's subject to this new development that might affect the existing wells. As I'm also sure you may be aware, the Opportunity Groundwater District has a minimum setbacks for water wells and private sewer facilities. We'd like to know if this court can assure the homeowners that 50-foot side setbacks and 150-foot setbacks from a septic to a water well can be accomplished based on the current configuration with homes and other potential outbuildings on these very narrow lots. For example, the restrictions allow for guest structures to be placed on these narrow lots. When I say narrow, these lots are less than 210 feet in width. So we wanted to know why this development is being allowed to be platted and developed in phases. Has there been a study and water runoff study? Hood County has a history of when developments are done in phases, there are flooding issues on neighboring properties, including road crossings. In the area in question today, there's usually more flooding in these areas than others. There are several entrances to the area which have low points that flood, and I believe that's the Contrary Creek. The water issue covers a large part of the properties out there. We have one neighbor that does not have a traditional well. That neighbor has a seep well, and another neighbor that put in a traditional well just a few acres away dropped the seep well water line by a foot. We also want to know whether any data was presented regarding the roadways.
Time. Ms. Bardot?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, but your 3 minutes are up.
That's no problem.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next, Steve Biggers.
Good morning, Court. I appreciate this opportunity. I can't think of a better time to talk about the border issue than during Constitution Week, running up to the Constitution. Constitution is pretty clear about these things. Article 1, Section 10, imminent danger, invaded. Article 4, Section 4, protect from invasion. So last time we were here in this court, this issue came up, and I saw 5 Republicans talking about this. And they spent 10 minutes talking about the word demand, or talking about the word request, or beg. And they weren't even dealing with the true topic, what's going on down there. Now, you say you're Republicans, and you all have the Republican platform. I gave it to you. It's pretty clear in there. Plank 2, Plank 15, and Plank 13 all deal with issues that fall underneath this heading. And due to time, I'm not going to read those, but I think you guys, and I know this is on the plate today, and if the clerk could distribute these for me, sir, if you don't mind. I have these for copies, and I have a copy for you, too. Everybody wants to get hung up on this word demand, and politicians work for us, and we can demand them to do their job. So over Labor Day weekend, we were downtown, the GOP was downtown, and we saw hundreds and hundreds of people. People are upset about this. People are violently upset about this, and they want something to be done. So what I'm asking you today, and I know, Judge, you have one on here, and yours says chaos, and chaos is a room full of 5-year-olds. Chaos is 9/11. There's not chaos on the border. The agents down there would take issue with that, I'm sure. Commissioner Wilson, you called it a crisis, and it is a crisis, absolutely a crisis. With 3.2 million people coming through, that's an invasion. So after Labor Day weekend, I got together with a couple other my CEC folks, and we developed a resolution that we will be adopting tonight, and we will be sending it to the governor. That's the copy that you got, and it's demanding you guys take action on this. And I'm sure you will, and I'm hoping that you guys can get together with Commissioner Eagle and yours, Judge, and come to some common ground on this thing, because the governor's just sitting down there, and we have to take action. If it comes down to the grassroots, we have to take action. He will listen to us. What's interesting about this, other CECs have heard what's going on here at Hood County, and I've had numerous county chairs reach out to me, and they want to see this resolution. So we'll start it here at the grassroots and the CEC level. I appreciate your time for this. Thanks.
Hey, Mr. Grant Wood.
Judge, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'll keep it short. I would ask the court to remove items 1 and 15 from the miscellaneous agenda and focus upon the business of the county. It is a waste of taxpayers' money by keeping these county employees and yourselves in the room for purposes of political theater and meaningless proclamations. Time is money, and all of you are wasting both. Thank you.
Ms. Robin Arterberry.
Good morning. My name is Robin Arterberry. I'm also with Lisa and Carolyn with the Comanche Peak Coalition. I am the one with the seep well. I am concerned about the water table and how low it's actually going to go when we do add these 22 to 24 homes. I just propose that we revisit the plat that was filed, maybe talk to the developer that's came in, so we can grow those lots from 2.5 to maybe 10 or 5, make the lots bigger, have the homes still come in, but have less homes so it has less effect on the water table, less effect on the environment. With all the building that have been coming in around us, it's pushing wildlife into our area. Adding more homes in our area is going to affect the wildlife that's there. The turkey, the deer, we do have bobcats, things like that. It's going to keep pushing them further and further away. The roads concern me. There's blind spots on the roads. The county does great work on the roads as it is. We add 2 houses, that's 4 more cars. 10 houses, that's 20 more cars. 20 houses, that's 40 more cars. That's more and more and more traffic on this tiny little narrow roadway that's going to need more and more and more maintenance. Who's going to take care of that roadway? Is the county going to be responsible for that? Is the developer going to be responsible for that? Are we going to get repairs when we need repairs through the county? Are we going to get repairs when the developer decides he's going to fix this mess up? There's too many negatives on this development to see a positive. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, Arliss Holland, Mrs. Santa Claus.
She said she needed backup.
Yes.
Yes, come on up, Santa Claus, yes.
Good morning. We're just here to say thank you to the courts and to let you know Santa House is on schedule, and we're back full-blown.
Back full-blown? And
That's
we'll
it.
be there, and all the kids of
Yes.
Hood County and other surrounding counties are
Yes.
sure glad to hear that, too.
That's it. We're here to thank you.
And you're working well with Jay Riley to make sure that he's on the ball up
If
here?
I have a moment to say anything about that, Jay Riley needs to receive every accommodation possible for everything he does for this community.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Thank you both for all that you do, and we look forward to seeing both Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus here this Christmas. Thank you
back.
very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next is Sharon Sealander.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Today I'm here to speak on a dirt project that's been put onto G Road. This dirt buildup is starting to be quite a risk to G Road. I'm not sure why it's here. I brought some pictures, and unfortunately I just have one of each. But here I have a picture where it's actually blocking a drainage. Across the road are 2 homes that has the other side of this drainage. Now this drainage is being blocked so that it can't go any further because of the dirt wall that's built on the other side of it. You can see kind of at the bottom of the picture where the dirt wall begins. I don't know why this is being built. I was told it's a fence, and now it's continuing to be a fence. They're building one on top. I brought a couple of pictures with me showing this is how it's starting to now encroach upon G Road. The dirt is starting to come down as we have these little rains. Crevices are being put into the wall, and it's sliding down. I have a picture here that shows several of these crevices that have been in here that had gone down. They come in and they use loose field dirt, take a bobcat, and they just dump some dirt in it. The next rain we had, which we've had 2 or 3 over the last week or so, every time it rains, these fall down and we have the crevices back, and then they come and fill them up again. Jeez. Here they're building a fence on top of the dirt structure. When it rained one time, when I came by, one of these poles had slid down because there's nothing holding the dirt there. This is kind of a bigger picture of when the dirt fills. It just shows they just throw loose dirt into the crevice. This one shows many crevices, just to kind of give you an idea. I'll give these to the clerk when we get through so y'all can review them. Here, this is one of the first pictures that was ever taken, and this is some ditch they dug behind the wall. So now you can't see what they're doing back there now. They've built it up big enough, but before we could see that they were having some kind of ditch. This was way before the rains, but there's water in this ditch. I'm not sure exactly where that water came from. I talked to Jack Wilson. He was going to check into it, but I still wanted to come to the court and bring these pictures and let the county know what's going on out there. If we have any sort of a rain or whatever, I feel that dirt's just going to come down, get into G Road and impede the traffic there. I'm just asking the court to further investigate on this and figure if this is something, because I know if Don Money's here, he can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking the row of the road is from the edge of the road to either a fence line or to the utility pole, whichever is the farthest. So this is totally seems like it's out of compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sealander. Okay. Next, Nanette Samuelson.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. What I'm going to be talking about today is the line item transfers that I noticed. When I looked at the agenda and the number of line item transfers, it stuck out at me, especially since this is the last month of the fiscal year. The 2023 budget was just finalized at the last court on August 23rd. Part of the budget process is to review the year-to-date spend in each of the accounts, and based on various facts and circumstances, determine if the budget for the next year should be the same or go up or down. Today, over $300,000 is being moved around in different accounts. This represents 1% of the total annual budget, or 35% of the $800,000 county current expenses being paid later in the agenda. This is concerning in the total amount and how it is impacting the 2023 budget. Here are just a few of the concerns that I have. Utilities for the library, increase of $6,925. This is 22% of the $32,000 budget in just 6 weeks. But the 2023 budget stayed at $32,000. The 2022 budget will end at $38,775 after this line item transfer. Unclaimed funds. What is unclaimed funds? Unclaimed from what? Where did the funds come from? What is the total in that account? Account 555, as was noted on the line item transfer in the supporting documents, is not shown on the budget on the web. Why is there a $4,000 overspend for a total of $6,000 in spending an unclaimed fund? It says transfer in from prior fund balance, but what is the prior fund balance? I have one more, but it looks as though I'm running out of time, so I will just stop and say, again, my concern is the number and the overall amount of the line item transfers with 2 weeks remaining in the fiscal year and the impact on the 2023 budget. As we move through the 2023 budget, I would hope for increased discipline and more realistic forecasting to improve the overall budget process and reduce the surprises at the end of the year. I'm sure Ms. Kidd would love to reduce the surprises as well. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next is Courtney Coates Blackman.
Good morning, Commissioners, Judge. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I am a resident of Hood County for nearly 50 years, 46 years for sure. I am with the Peak Coalition addressing the development that's going in on Neary Road. I know that development was purchased with the intention of developing 300 acres into 2-acre lots. And right now, the developer has made the decision to go about it in phases. He's been approved by the court since August 11th for 24 new lots. Those, as one of my friends mentioned, those lots are less than 200 feet wide. We're very concerned about our water table there. We're also very, very concerned about our roadways, the traffic that we're going to have going through there. I am mostly concerned about what 150 new homes in our area will look like on that little county road. Neary Road is probably one of the most traveled county roads because of the pass-through between 144 and Biloxi Highway. And there are some sharp angles and curves. It's a kind of dangerous little road anyway. People tend to speed through there all the time. We replace our fence at least 4 times a year. Every time it rains, somebody drives through our fence. But as you can see, that little area out there is not equipped to handle this kind of development. And it made me think about when the dam was built, the De Cordova Dam was put in, we didn't really have a lot of restrictions here in Hood County, and because of that, a lot of lake land, lake properties were sold quickly, without restrictions, and we had to suffer the consequences over the years of those decisions. I feel the same way about our rural land. I feel like people are coming in for a quick buck and buying up these farms and ranches and selling them off in 2-acre plots to make a quick buck. But we are going to turn around one day and go, what happened to our beautiful countryside? I would plead with you that you would make a minimum of a 5-acre minimum for putting in a well from now on. At least that would slow things down. It would make this 24 house development that's going in down the road from us a 7-house development. That would be a huge difference. I wouldn't be up here talking to you if 7 new neighbors were coming to the area. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, Ivy Wilborn. Good morning.
Good morning. I am also with the Comanche Peak Coalition. I happen to be the neighbor of the gentleman who's developing. Moved out to the country a year and a half ago to have a more sustainable, healthy country lifestyle. I share a well with my neighbor in order to conserve water. We have ponds that are, as you know, we're all suffering from the drought. Our grass is awful, but we all suffer through it together because for the betterment of everyone and with our water tables, to find out that on my fence line I'm going to have 6 new homes with 6 wells. And that's really very concerning and very upsetting. Country living is just that. And if you guys, you know, I'm a landowner as well, so I respect the fact that my neighbor has rights. But asking you guys to kind of look at the big picture. My neighbor on the other side, he passed away, and his kids that don't live here are about to sell his 80-something acres, and I'm afraid that it's going to be to a developer. And I'm going to be surrounded by a neighborhood that I didn't intend to live near or by. The roads, as they were saying, are terrible. You know, we are petrified for our children, especially at night, no lights, sharp turns, and the roads are already not great on Near-Eye, and I can only imagine what construction vehicles will do to that, due to the road. So I just ask, like Courtney asked, looking at the big picture of Near-Eye, Comanche Peak area, when you are approving these kind of projects, if you would consider, I would like to ask for 20-acre, maybe 10, at the very least acre. Keep it country, let progress be progress, but 2-acre lots, we fear for our cattle, our livestock, when we're butted up to just a regular neighborhood. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, last, Mr. Granick, Dr. Granick. Harold Granick, you're next.
I hear before I got here that there was an attack
Oh,
on...
you on Miscellaneous 5, never mind.
Yes, okay, fine.
Never mind. Okay. Okay. Now, the citizens that still want to address any agenda items, you still have to fill out a public participation form prior for the court reaching that item. So next, we have the consent agenda. Does any of the commissioners wish to pull anything or question anything that's on the consent agenda? If not, do I hear a proper motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Wilson that the consent agenda be approved, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right. Next, we have no road development here from Mr. Don Lenny today. Is that correct, Mr. Lenny? Yes, sir. Okay, so now that brings us to development with Mr. Clint Head. Mr. Head.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners. First, 3 things I'll group together. Development's accepted applications for 3 replats.
Okay.
And request public hearings be set for the Cliffs on Lake Granbury, Lot 9R and Block 1, Precinct 1. Stroud Creek Estates, Lots 1R, 2R1, 2R2, Block 7 and Precinct 1, and Descartes Ranch, Phase 5B, Lots 13R and 14R in Block 7 and Precinct 3. Staff recommends setting the public hearings for these replats for the October 25th Commissioners Court.
October 25th. Okay, do I hear a proper motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion that we set public hearings for October 25th for the replats at the Cliffs on Lake Granbury, Lot 9R, Block 1, Stroud Creek Estates, Lot 1R, 2R-1 and 2R-2, Block 7, and Descartes Ranch, Phase 5B, Lots 13R and 14R, Block 7.
Okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to set the public hearings for October the 25th, 2022, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further comment? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. What else you have for us, Mr. Head?
We have a public hearing to discuss and consider the replat of Blue Branch Branch, Lot 68R and Precinct 1.
Okay, let's, at this time, it's 3 minutes after 10. We're going to convene into a public hearing. Okay, sir.
This replat is the combining of lots 68, 69, and 71 of Blue Branch Ranch. It proposes to create a 6.151 acres lot known as Lot 68R. This property is located within the Road Corridor District in Precinct 1 and will be served by well and on-site sewage facilities. Is there anybody who needs to speak? I mean, it's serviced by a private road. There's nothing being... Staff has reviewed this replat and all comments have been addressed.
So you recommending approval on this? I don't...
Is there any speaker?
All right. Okay, do I hear a proper motion?
Nope. Nope.
Oh, excuse me. All right, at this time at 5 minutes after 10, we're going to convene back into Commissioner's Court.
Staff recommends approval of the replat as presented.
Okay, do I hear a proper motion?
Judge, I'll make a motion that we approve the replat of Blue Branch Ranch, Lot 68R.
Second. A motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the replat of the Blue Branch Lot 63R, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
This next item requires no action. It's just for record purposes to inform the court that the construction plans were approved for Roadstone Estates Phase 1 and 2 by the engineering staff on August 23rd, 2022.
Okay, this is just an update, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no action required?
No.
Okay, thank you. We'll take that.
The next item, we have a developer's agreement, a letter of credit in lieu of performance bond to consider accepting, and the final plat of Roadstone Estates Phase 1 and Precinct 1 to discuss and consider.
Okay.
The property is located at 1900 Campbell Road, Toller, Texas. The gross site area for this final plat phase is 134.83 acres of the W. Hickman Survey, Abstract 216, the J. Hibbins Survey, Abstract 225, and it proposes to create 34 single-family residential lots. This final plat is located in the rural district in Precinct 1 and will be served by well and on-site sewage facilities. This final plat proposes to construct approximately 6,864 linear feet of public asphalt streets. The concept plan and variances for this final plat were approved at the November 9th, 2021 Commissioners Court meeting. There were two variances associated with that concept plan that were approved concerning a street longer than 600 feet ending in a cul-de-sac approved with that concept plan.
Good.
And just to be transparent, before this final plat was submitted, there was citizens that called in that reported that the construction had been started and the base was on the road, so just have to let the court know, according to the regulations, upon the request of the developer, the court can grant permission to begin construction of the roads and improvements prior to the final plat application and approval of the plat. The mandatory requirement for that would be that the construction plans be approved. If the construction plans are approved, the Commissioners Court can grant the request to begin construction prior to the final plat, and the performance bond is not needed because the construction will have to be completed before a final plat application can be accepted. Going into accepting this final plat application, just days after the construction plans are approved, it was found that the roads and drainage ditches in this had been constructed, except for having asphalts placed on the roads. And during the plat review, staff requested that the test results and depths and subgrade and base, though it's not normally part of the final plat review, it is part of the regulations and process. Development had the option to charge the applicants with misdemeanors for each violation of the regulations. On each of those violations are considered separate violations after 24 hours just to ensure construction is done correctly, since the plans were not approved. It is repeated many times in sections of both major sections of the regulations that each step is not permission or approval to begin construction activities. In this county, we deal with the effects of having zero regulations in the past. Streets being substandard, citizens blaming the county for no maintenance or substandard streets because they're not county maintained or how developers got away with building them in the past. A fine is not going to go to solve the problem. The goal is to have it done correctly and to make sure that the development is not something the taxpayers are going to have to pay to fix when developers are counting their money later. The plat is a mechanism the only mechanism the county really has to guarantee that is done correctly. The regulations require testing of the subgrade and the base in section 7.2, and it states it is the responsibility of the developer to coordinate all inspections and laboratory tests with the county road administrator and not to proceed with the construction until proper inspections and testing have been obtained. And that all tests and expenses of the developer, and no event will be placed on the street until subgrade has been inspected at each phase of construction and approved by the county road administrator. Since this was not done is why I asked for the test during the plat review. And we have the bid sheet to go by to back up the letter of credit, and on the bid sheet it shows you that there was lime stabilization accounted for. That tells you the engineer knew that the subgrade needed to be lime stabilized. So that's another reason why I asked for the. So back to presenting the plat. The letter of credit would. The letter of credit was turned in would allow the county to build the roads if that was something that you would want to do, if it was enough money, because it does not provide a figure for the contracting cost. The only issue the staff has with the letter of credit is it has an expiration date of September 26, 2023 on that letter of credit. If this had been a performance bond, there would be no expiration date, and it is not released until the Commissioner's Court releases it. The local government code says that it is conditioned with a reasonable time set by the Commissioner's Court. The court will need to decide whether they feel that this is a reasonable amount of time. The county is very limited in what we have at our disposal for enforcement, especially after a plat is recorded. If this plat is approved and recorded and these roads do not meet our standards in the future, and if the tests never come or they fail, the county will not accept the roads, or a commissioner may get talked into somewhere down the line and the county will be improving the roads, whatever's deficient in these roads. This is why staff has mentioned wanting to change the rules to hold plats to where it's constructed beforehand to ensure the stuff is built correctly and do away with the performance bond. On the plat itself, comments have been addressed. The comments development requested violating the regulations regarding testing have not. The developer's agreement you are considering to accept in your backup gives the Commissioner's Court the authority at any time construction is contrary to the plans and specifications or the construction is not satisfactory to the county specifications to empower the Director of Development to stop construction and require correct construction and installation at the developer's risk without liability to the county. Staff recommends the court accept the developer's agreement and empower the Director of Development with the abilities to carry out everything described in paragraph H of the agreement. Staff recommends the court conditionally accept the letter of credit under the condition that if the construction is not completed, certified, and accepted by the county, that a new letter of credit will be issued and accepted by the Commissioner's Court until such time that those conditions can be met and a maintenance bond can be accepted by the court. With those two conditions, staff would recommend approval of the final plat. Without those two conditions, staff would recommend denial of the final plat for violation of the development regulations, section 1 and 2. Development's goal is to ensure to be constructed correctly and to make sure rules are followed and that taxpayers are not paying for developers to cut corners.
Well, yeah, I've spoken with Mr. Cobb on this pretty extensively, and he's absolutely willing to do what we need to do to make this road right. The performance, well, it's not a performance bond. We've gone into a letter of credit, which actually, my understanding, ties him personally, financially, to making sure that this road is built correctly. And it's for $625,000, which, I spoke with Mr. Lenny yesterday and figured construction of a road somewhere around $45 a square yard. Is that about it? And this, what's the bonded amount or the insured amount, I'm not sure what the right word is there, is about $90 per square yard on that. So if a failure is made, there's enough money there to make sure that this road is built correctly. Yeah, like I said, we spent quite a bit of time on this, and I think we're on the same page. We're going to get these roads built right, and no no corners cut and get this thing going down the road. It's been a pretty laborious process on this particular development for
I
sure.
remember discussing it several times.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Make a motion?
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion that we approve the,
Accept first.
accept?
The agreement.
Okay, yeah, they accept the developer's letter of agreement, the letter of credit in lieu of the performance bond, and approving the final plat of Rolled Stone Estates Phase 1.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Andrews, second by Commissioner.
Conditionally accept. Are you conditionally accepting the letter of credit?
Is that not in the developer's agreement?
No.
Oh, yes, yeah, okay, and that's something else that we had spoken with also is the expiration date on the letter of credit, and, yeah, surely those roads will be built by then, but yes, let's conditionally accept that they would have to be completed and accepted by the county before.
What about empowering the director of development without having to come back to court? Y'all just going to do that now?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and do it now. Conditionally accepted, okay?
I'm trying to find that. Okay, conditionally accept the letter of credit under condition that if the construction is not completed, certified, and accepted by the county, that a new letter of credit will be issued and accepted by the Commissioners Court until such time that those conditions can be met and a maintenance bond can be accepted by the court.
Second is amended motion.
Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Okay, what else do you have? Discuss and consider the final plat of the Dumas estate.
We have a final plat of Dumas Estate, Lot 1, Block 1, in Precinct 4. This property is located at 801 Thomas Road in Granbury, Texas. The final plat is located in the Road Corridor District in Precinct 4 and will be creating a 2-acre lot out of the J. Schroeder Survey Abstract 505, known as Lot 1, Block 1, and will be served by well and on-site sewage facilities. There are no streets proposed to be constructed with this final plat. This lot will be accessing on the existing county-maintained Thomas Road. Staff has reviewed this final plat. All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval of the final plat as presented.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Yes, Judge, I make a motion to approve the final plat of Dumas Estate, Lot 1, Block 1.
Okay, a motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to approve the plot on the Dumas estate. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, it's already passed. Chuck, I overlooked you. Do you have anything to say since it's already passed? I'm sorry.
No, Judge, I was just here to answer any questions you might have.
I think everything's been addressed, so we're all right? Good. Thank y'all. Okay. This brings us to financial. Ms. Becky Kidd.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. You've all been given advance information regarding invoices and payments for this court. You've also been given a large list of payments over $10,000. Are there any questions regarding these payments?
Okay.
Oh, come on, one question, come on.
No.
Okay.
Can you find
so,
some more money?
Yes, and Nanette had a good point, but what happens with budgeting is we start 6 months out, and that's where we start. That's our budget. We can't anticipate the utility bills going crazy, which they did. We cannot anticipate out-of-county prisoners going nuts this summer. Utilities, everything has gone up. We've got 3 pages of line item transfers. Those are fun, but people are running out of money. We try to budget sufficiently. I also come back in July and take a look at it again and increase accordingly. And I wish I had a magic wand, or what was it that Johnny Carson used to say? Some jar on, what was it? Come on, Kevin, you should know this. You're that old.
What are you asking me?
But we try, and we just do the best we can. This is a year that I didn't anticipate us being having this many line item transfers. But luckily, we have the money, and that's why I budgeted for a larger contingency amount next year, because we have no idea what the future holds. So I do not want to run dry.
Good. Okay, do I hear a proper motion?
I make a motion that we approve the paying the bills.
Okay. All right. Motion's been made by Commissioner Eagle that we pay the bills, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Ms.
gentlemen.
Kidd. Okay, this brings us down to miscellaneous. And I have something here that first of all, I want to say thank you to Commissioner Dave Eagle. That's something you don't hear very often here, but I want to say thank you, Commissioner Eagle, for changing the word in your resolution the last time from demand to request. As we discussed the last time, this is a commissioner's court. We do not have any legal authority over the governor. And we can request the governor to do something, and that is politically the right thing to do. I'll tell you one thing, Governor Abbott is my candidate for governor. There's been some talk that he's not, but I want everybody to be real clear about this, that Governor Abbott is my candidate for governor of the state of Texas. Governor Abbott is a friend of Hood County. We had 44 prisoners ready to be transferred to TDC that were already booked out, all the paperwork, and we had them here in our jail, and it was overcrowded, and the sheriff didn't know what to do with them, and we couldn't do anything with them. We couldn't get them moved. Commissioner Jack Wilson called the governor's office, and because of his relationship, good relationship, the governor sent down a bus, and a bus magically appeared, and all those prisoners were transferred to the penitentiary and got off of Hood County's payroll. And do all of y'all remember last month when Chalk Mountain was on fire? Our governor called me up and asked me if I would meet him in Glen Rose so we could talk about this fire. And of course, I didn't turn down the governor. I just said yes, and I went to Glen Rose, and I met with him, with Tatum and everybody else, and I'm talking about forest fighters from all over the United States were there. They were all there, and it was huge. And he had County Judge Danny Chambers sit right next to him, and me sit right next to Danny Chambers, and he questioned each one of us. Judges, is there anything that the state of Texas can be doing for y'all? Do y'all need any more resources? We want to do everything to keep this Chalk Mountain fire out of Hood County and confined to Somerville County, and he did. So I can tell you this is the second time I met with Governor Abbott, and the last time when Commissioner Eagle brought this up, I noted that the other counties that had issued things like this, they were disaster declarations, and they were close, the border counties, they were all close to the border. And they were overrun with these illegal immigrants and destroying their properties and putting their livelihoods, and the fentanyl and the immigration and sex trafficking, all that. Everybody knows that's a horrible, horrible situation. And I don't like it either. None of us do. And I think the governor was trying to do everything he can. You know, there's videos of our Border Patrol down there opening the gates while we were trying to keep these people out. So let me tell you something. I understand that, and I'm going to say this, sorry, Dr. Granick, Beto O'Rourke is not my candidate for governor, okay? I want everybody to understand this. Greg Abbott is. I hear there's some talk about there's some money being given to people so there can be a write-in candidate. Is anybody in here older than me that remembers what happened when Ross Perot ran for president and we divided the ticket and we got Bill Clinton instead of George Bush. Well, I don't want that to happen to Texas. I tell you what, I want Greg Abbott to think and to know that Hood County is for Greg Abbott, because Greg Abbott has been here for Hood County. And I looked and I talked to all I got the disaster declarations from all the other counties. I've talked to Judge Little from Ellis County, Judge Harmon from Johnson County. I looked at it. I got some good help from it, and I looked at everything and I said, you know, there's just a little bit of semantics between what I'm saying in my resolution and in what Dave Eagle is saying in his petition on the deal. So I want to say right now, I want Hood County and the Republican Party to come together. Please, can we all work together instead of trying out reasons to divide and point fingers and to shout at each other? Can we stop that? That's why I liked your invocation and what you said before, Father. I appreciate that very much. I thought it was very timely. So in this spirit, I'm going to do something here, and Dave Eagle, I hope you don't pass out, but I move that we adopt Commissioner Dave Eagle's petition regarding the invasion at the border. Yes, we do. And if anybody thinks that they need to come up here and speak, I will let you go ahead and speak if you've done on this topic up here. But I want to know before anybody says...
I'll second that right now.
I didn't think... I want that to be noted that I made the motion and that Dave Eagle seconded his motion. So now, with that in mind, we will hold off on the vote and we'll hear what the people have to say about this. Y'all kind of say 1 in 15 is, 1 is mine and 15 or 14 is Dave's. Is it? 15 is Dave's. So let me see up here. Well, I got Donna Cole.
15.
Yes, ma'am. You want to speak on this? They're together. We're now, you understand that we have a motion on the floor to adopt Dave Eagle's petition in its entirety as he has written it, and he's second his own motion, his own petition. So do you still want to speak?
Yes.
Please.
This may be news to, I'm sorry. Good morning, gentlemen. This may be news to some people, but I have shown increased foot traffic in my precinct. I live on Highway 4, and across the street is my neighbor, and he's in Precinct 1. And we have voiced our opinion of what is happening in Thorpe Springs to Mr. Eagle and to Mr. Andrews. We also know that since the border has been opened, crime has increased. I have suspicious activity up on my property. I have 32 acres. I used to have 64, but now I have 32. And things are happening. I have friends down at Uvalde, and the fences are being cut and livestock's getting out. That hasn't happened to me yet, thank goodness. But last Commissioner's Court, I was very disappointed with the 3-2 vote against the petition to Governor Abbott to declare it an invasion, because I'm glad that y'all are becoming the spearhead now that needs to be. Over 25 counties have already declared that we are in a battle dealing with illegal people coming across our Texas border. So I would like to see my Commissioners Court to be more proactive instead of reactive, and I think you rectified that at this meeting. The commissioners are listening. Mr. Andrews and Mr. Eagle are listening to what's going on in our precincts. Thank you, Mr. Andrews and Mr. Eagle, for your awareness of your constituents for this issue. We need everyone's help. All counties in Texas need protection because we are being invaded. Oh, by the way, I have some more petitions. I'd like to, I have a total of 151 additional signatures that I would like to turn into the county clerk for your records.
Please,
And thank you
hand
for
them
your
to Dean.
time.
Thank you.
Cole?
Was that Donna Cole?
Yes. Donna, yes.
Okay. Nate Criswell.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. First, thank you all for doing what you did just now. I think that says a lot. And, you know, it's a problem that this Commissioners Court has had for some time where, at times, petty personal politics gets in the way of making progress. And I do want to draw a quick parallel between this resolution and the Second Amendment sanctuary one that the court adopted unanimously in 2019. We did that. The other counties did that. I think we ended up with over 100 or 150. What do you know? The next session, we get constitutional carry passed through the legislature. Contrary to what some members of this court said in the last meeting, there is a purpose to doing this. You know, it's grassroots activism through the county government. And so, you know, I would like to have the stronger language. You know, calling it an invasion, I think, is the right thing to do. And, you know, honestly, Judge, again, I'm very pleased with you making that motion. And I hope that we can continue to do that. And like you said, do this for the good of the party. And, you know, they were collecting signatures over the square, at the square over Labor Day weekend. I think total is up to like 600. You know, which is a lot for little petitions. So it's something that people want. And, you know, contrary to our Democrat neighbors here, you know, it does mean something and it's not a waste of time. You know, we've got a big crisis down at the border, and it has to do with national security, child sex trafficking, human sex trafficking, and of course fentanyl, which, you know, we're losing kids left and right to that stuff. So thank you all.
Okay. Is it David Ferris or Fair? Ferris. Ferris.
David Ferris, Granbury. First of all, Judge, I'd like to say thank you. I have my background, I've got a degree in physics, a degree in statistics, so I have a whole bunch of statistics on verifiable statistics on border crossings, legal, illegal, trafficking, all varieties, et cetera, but I'm going to waive all that. And I do want to say thank you for bringing this resolution up. But as was mentioned, I have never noticed a border wall around Hood County, so anything coming into Texas is going to filter in some way into or through Hood County to some statistical percentage. This resolution is needed, and I totally disagree that to do this resolution is a political stunt. I would argue that not doing it is more of a political stunt. Lastly, and one of the previous one kind of took up my other comment that I was going to make. I would personally prefer it to say demand, but But okay, you're going to request. All right, but this is something so significant that, in my opinion, demand is appropriate.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, Dave Holland?
Who was that?
Dave Holland?
Name's Dave Holland, Hood County resident. You've obviously stolen some of my thunder. I had a 20-minute preparation here of all the mean things I was going to say, but
Amen. Amen.
I appreciate you updating and accepting Commissioner Eagle's petition. And I agree with the previous couple gentlemen that is certainly demand is appropriate. And can you imagine the pressure on the governor of 200 of our 250-some counties demanded it? That's the first thing. The second thing is it was certainly not a waste of time. It took 2 minutes or 5 minutes for y'all to argue over the word demand, and then a couple minutes to argue over whether it was a waste of time, and now we have it back on the agenda. So are we wasting time or not? But no, it's not a waste of time. Thank you for adopting Commissioner Eagle's petition.
Thank you. Okay. Sharon Sealander.
I do want to thank the court. Thank y'all so much for this. I had a lot longer speech, but it's shortened quite a bit for that. Thank you. I was on the square this weekend talking with Texans, and almost every one of them was in favor of sending Abbott a loud message. They're tired of our tax money going to the border because federal government has failed to shut it down. When Texas joined the Union, the United States promised to protect and defend Texas. The United States, under this administration and others, has broken that promise. It's time for Texas to start taking a harder look at how we can protect ourselves. The citizens have spoken and want this court to tell Governor to close the Texas border. I know maybe he can't do it through the law enforcement that we have down there due to the Border Patrol counteracting what they do. But at one time, Governor Abbott had shut down the ports for Mexico to come in with their commerce and trade, and it seemed to be working. And I think once again, if we were to try something like that, then maybe Mexico would once again get a little bit stronger in what they're doing there. That's, I think, one thing that Governor Abbott could do. Maybe try to detain people. Maybe there's something he can do if we declared an invasion, that he could start to detain people once they're on Texas properties. I also want to state in this court that Governor Abbott is my candidate too, and would definitely vote for him. So just wanted to let you know.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Okay. And Nat Samuelson.
Thank you. Yes, again, thank you for adopting the resolution that was put forward last week about the invasion, and for recognizing the importance of having a secure Texas southern border. The Republican Party of Texas not only has border security as number 257 on the Republican platform, it is also number 2 of the Republican legislative priorities. Over 5,000 delegates in Houston just this past June recognized that this was number 2, only behind election integrity, as the most important issue for the Texas Republican Party. The resolution says, or the legislative priority says, we call on Governor Abbott to assert his duty under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution to declare an invasion at our Texas border. Matt Rinaldi, the chair of the Republican Party, in an article published on August 9th, stated, "It is beyond dispute that the situation at the southern border is a crisis of monumental proportions. In 2021, an estimated 2 million people illegally crossed the southern border, And some may have hesitated to call this disaster an invasion, but to quote Congressman Chip Roy, this is still again Matt Rinaldi quoting Chip Roy, "You're damn right that it's an invasion. What else would you call it?" And most Texans would agree. So just to remind you, 2 million people in 2021, that's 400,000 people less than the populations of North Dakota and South Dakota combined. So every year, we have the population of North Dakota and South Dakota illegally coming into the United States. Again, thank you for what you're doing today. I want to thank you specifically, Judge Massengale, for doing what you did. The citizens of Hood County and Texas, thank you as well. The mothers of the kids being sex trafficked, killed, or overdosed on fentanyl, thank you as well. They do not think this is a waste of time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hey, that's all the speakers now. So now, oh, excuse me. Dr. Harold Granick, I'm sorry. I called you and then didn't call you, and now I'm calling you. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners and Judge. I'll just be brief on this part. This reminds me of the parable of the king of ancient times who commanded the ocean to stop having waves. The southern border between another country is a domain of the federal government, and we can do all sorts of resolutions. It will not change that. Comparing this an invasion is, I think of the invasion in Ukraine, that's an invasion. This is people who are desperate, some illegal, many illegal for illegal purposes. So that's really all I have to say about that. If I can deviate a little off of this subject, because apparently before I got here, I got a vaccine for that pandemic that was once, that Commissioner Eagle once declared, to paraphrase, a hoax, but has killed more than 1 million people. So apparently there was an attack on myself before I got here. May I answer that, some comments on that on my remaining time? Yes, please. Okay. Commissioner Eagle waived more than 6 months ago the proclamation of that information of when I was before the Board of Medical Examiners. How did that occur? The process is a reviewer looks at complaints.
This is not
No, it is not.
the agenda item.
But I was
You're
not
out of
here
order.
to
I'm going
answer
to let
that.
him go ahead and speak and address it because he wasn't in here.
We have prevented people from speaking on items that are on the agenda.
If I can continue, the president of the Board of Medical, I never had a complaint from the Board of Medical Examiners before a certain member, nor after a certain member of a physician in Fort Worth, who was the president of the Board of Medical Examiners. When those complaints came, there were 2 that were presented to a reviewer. The reviewer later testified at the SOA hearing that what was presented to her were doctored charts. The Board of Medical Examiners had edited charts out, and she claimed that she would not have even said that it should proceed. Those were 2 complaints. We won't discuss that at the moment, but they added 6 more by the time it came to a SOA hearing. 3 of the patients were dead. Most of them I'd seen 18 years before. One of the patients had called our office, said the Board of Medical Examiners had threatened her if she didn't testify, and she apologized to us. And when she did testify, turned to the law. They had only given her a one-way ticket to Austin and would not give her the return ticket until she testified. And when she testified, she turned to the lawyers for the Board of Medical Examiners and asked, did I say what you wanted me to say? Another of the 8 told the Board of Medical Examiners to shove it in a place that I can't describe here because she said there's no basis of it. 3 of the complainants were dead. were deceased at the time of that hearing, it was hard to answer them. I understand that the person who came up earlier said my license was suspended. It was suspended for a total of 3 hours when a judge looked at the evidence, looked at the complaint, and told the Board of Medical Examiners that you really had to have evidence to suspend a license. So I had some restrictions for a while. Those patients I could not see called me on a weekly basis to see could they see me. One of those initial 2 complaints was having to do with seeing a patient at a hospital for a consultation at close to midnight. When the doctor called me when I was in 16 hours of surgery, I said, well, I'll see her the next morning. The doctor asked me, could I see her that night, because she was in the hospital for a motor vehicle accident in which her son had died, and her son's funeral was the next day, and because of a neurological problem, I needed to evaluate her so she could go to her son's funeral. So I saw her around midnight, consulted, and she went to the funeral. Similar to the style of which I practiced, a practice in which I did, I see that our Justice of the Peace 4 is not here, but I also saw him similarly close to midnight when he got shot many years ago, and I saved his vision. And you can ask him, would he prefer that I waited the next day or had a practice more like the president of the Board of Medical Examiners, who only saw patients on convenience. If people have questions of these things, as I mentioned that Commissioner Eagle waived more than 6 months ago, the information he had, hoping he could presume suppress me from criticizing or standing up for what I think is best for Hood County. It didn't work. I'll continue to do what I can for Hood County, and answer also to Mr. Bigger's comments. The oath, as I've said before, the oath of the commissioners.
Order in the court. Order in the court. I'm going to give him the opportunity.
Last
moment. I think
moment.
we've reached it. If you want to file any documents with the county clerk, you can, Doctor. I'm going to give you that right. If you have other documents, please file them with the county clerk, okay?
Okay, yes.
All right, please do that.
Y'all's oath to the county is precedent over the oath to a party.
Okay, thank you.
I would
Okay.
like to rebuttal now, since I was the one who initially spoke.
No rebuttal. That's it.
Okay,
That's
well,
it.
I'm going to say.
No, ma'am.
You've been
No, ma'am.
provided
No, ma'am. You're out of order, please. Sheriff. Listen, this is the United States. When somebody gets you have the right to address your accused. I've given him that opportunity. So it's over with here. Let's try to have a little decorum in here. We're trying to kind of work together here, and I thought I was trying to make a right move in this. Let's all try to get along here. I'm going to give him an opportunity to file whatever. Let's get whatever facts that are based upon this. Let's judge him by the facts. So it's over with.
Hey,
You're out
Judge.
of order, ma'am.
Hey, Judge, can I comment on can we get back to the resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good.
First of all, getting back to the resolution, and thank everybody for all their comments. I really appreciate that. And thankfully, I had some nitroglycerin under my table that I could get under my tongue after the judge made his comment. So I'm able to make this comment, and I thank you, Judge. I really appreciate that. And on Governor Abbott, we do not disagree. I fully support Governor Abbott. I disagree with Governor Abbott on occasion, just like I disagree with folks in this audience on occasion. That is okay. That's what this country is built on. We disagree, we argue it out, and we come to some sort of resolution, even if I agree that we disagree. But with that said, there is no way that I'm not going to give Governor Abbott my 100% backing at this juncture. He is the man running for the governor of this state under the Republican ticket, running against a person that has no business running for any office, no business at all. And the only stunt that I've been seeing in here are the two Democrats that come up to the podium to say that I'm doing a stunt. Now, since Mr. Granick came straight at me just now, I'm just going to put something on this record that you guys can go look at for yourself. Harold Granick, MD, appellant, versus Texas State Board of Medical Examiners and Donald W. Patrick, MD. Court of Appeals, Austin, Texas. Third Court of Appeals, dated March 10th, 2008, long after all that other stuff. Judge Jan Patterson, Justice, gave this opinion, and I'm just going to give you the nuts and bolts of it. Because we conclude that the board had authority to pursue enforcement action against Granick, that its order was neither arbitrary nor capricious, and was supported by substantial evidence, we affirm the district court's judgment affirming the board's final order. So you go down there and you go to the Texas Board of Medical Examiners, you see what it says, and compare it to what you just heard up here. That's my comment to Mr. Granick, who loves to come up here and attack me all the time. Anyway, Judge, getting back to the resolution, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I seconded your motion to accept my resolution. And by the way, I just wanted to point out that based on Ms. Donna Cole's bringing in another 100, was it 178? 151 signatures with the 540 that was turned in. That's 251 or 240, 290, 690 signatures that are on the petition. Sorry, I'm a lawyer, not a math guy. Anyway, so we had nearly 700 signatures on this petition. Thank you, Judge. Whenever you have barbecue out at your place, I'm ready to be invited. Thank you.
All right. Good. Let's all stick together. All right. So we got a motion to accept Dave Eagle's petition as it is written. I've signed it. Second by Commissioner Eagle. So any further discussion?
Yes, I want to say a couple of things. In my discussions with Governor Abbott's office, and there have been many since the last court, and if you watch the video, you will see that the state National Guard had locked gates, and there were 25, 30 people outside that gate. Border Patrol supervisor comes up, opens the gate, unlocks it, opens the gate, lets those people in, and then shuts the gate and locks it again. Now, the federal government has gone on record to the governor's office and said any continued blocking of individuals coming across the river into the United States, those officers from Texas DPS and those individuals from Texas National Guard will be charged for criminal action and prosecuted. That is documented fact. He's doing, having been there, witnessed what's going on, he's basically doing all he can legally do. Because there's not a whole lot left to do to stop this invasion and this crisis short of armed conflict. And I hate saying that, but that's really about as far where it's at. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good. All right, so we got a motion by Judge Massengill, second by Commissioner Eagle. All those in favor of accepting Commissioner Dave Eagle's petition as written, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank y'all very much. Okay, this brings us to item number 2, Consider and take appropriate action regarding Coke Beatty's request to reappoint Edward Selheimer for a term of 2 years as trustee for Pecan Valley Centers for Behavior and Developmental Health Care to serve September 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2024. Coke Beatty was here. He is busier than a one-horn paper hanger. Ed Selheimer is a wonderful servant on this board. I endorse him. Coke Beatty has asked for me to please make that motion to reappoint Ed Selheimer, so I so move to appoint Ed Selheimer for a trustee for the 2-year term.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0 for appointing Ed Selheimer. Third, discuss and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to sign the City of Granbury's event application approving the request for use of the historic courthouse parking lot for the Harvest Moon Festival of the Arts, October 14th through the 16th, contingent upon proof of insurance. Again, that's my motion here. I move to allow the use of the historic courthouse parking lot. Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 4, discuss and take appropriate action to extend holiday pay to January 31st, 2023. Tell me about that, Becky Kidd.
You just put me on the spot.
Well, go ahead.
Normally, holiday pay, you take it before September 30th or you lose it. Because there are some law enforcement officers that have accumulated more than we'd like them to do, but they're busy. And we'd like to extend that time to January 31st so that they would not lose that time off.
Yep.
It's not physical pay, it is actual time off.
Yeah, they've accumulated.
I'll make that motion, Judge.
Second.
Okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Eagle, second by Commissioner Wilson to extend the holiday pay to January 31st, 2023. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, next item, discuss and take appropriate action to approve the Hood County Library's holiday schedule to coincide with the already approved county holidays and request the library be closed the following dates. Holidays, November 26, 2022, April 8th, and July 1st, 2023, and inventory training December 19th to the 22nd, and December 27th through December 30th, 2022. And we have our librarian here, Ms. Jennifer Logsdon. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, and my watch kept telling me it was time to stand up, so I'm glad I'm getting to stand up now. These are just the days we typically ask for when the county holiday schedule comes out, and we're closed Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. The library is still open on Saturday, so we request that we get the whole weekend. Same with Easter weekend, and July 1st celebrations always takes over our parking, and our people have to fight to park at work. And so it's just easier to be closed on that Saturday. And then our inventory and training that we do every year where we go through and scan every book to make sure that, we're keeping track of the county assets. It takes some time.
You and your staff do a wonderful job. I hear nothing but compliments about
Thank
the
you.
library and the way it's run. I think that everybody here does. Okay, thank you. Do I hear an appropriate motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make the motion to approve the holiday schedule to coincide with the already approved county holidays and request the library be closed on the following dates: November 26th, April 8th, July 1st, and December 19th through 22nd, December 27th through 30th of 2022.
Second.
Made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the Hood County Library's holiday schedule and training schedule as stated. Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Lockett. You do a great job. Okay, item number 6, discuss and take appropriate action to pay the Text 21 prorated annual membership dues in the amount of $5,000. As you recall, we paid $10,000 a few months ago, and they tried to send us another bill for $10,000. but my legal beagle staff there caught that error and said, hey, we just paid you 10, so they gave us credit for 5. So this is very important. It helps us fight for text 21 and extending 377. So I would like to make the motion that we do pay the prorated annual membership dues in the amount of $5,000.
I'll second that. We had a really great event, what, Judge, about a month or so ago?
Yes, right.
That we hosted here at this city on the, really trying to get something done on 377, but it's a lot of moving parts, but the judge is really on top of that, and I appreciate that, so I'll second his motion.
Right. So we got, how about that? Now, let's call it teamwork, didn't it? Okay. So we got a motion and a second to pay the prorated memberships. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next, consider and take appropriate action to consider updates made to the Hood County fireworks usage and safe policy. Field Marshal Jeff, Field Marshal, I promoted you from Fire Marshal.
All right, call me whatever you want, just don't call me late for lunch.
I'll tell you what, this guy was doing more praying because I said, I'm going to throw you so far under that fire truck if anything happens during that dry spell up here. Boy, I was sweating it, but it came out all right, and thank God for this rain and looking at that green, isn't it? So anyway, what do you have, Jeff?
I thought I'd take advantage of this love and goodwill that we're having today. We've actually had a fireworks use and sales policy that was put into place back in 2011. It was updated in 2016. We reviewed it this year with our fireworks vendors. In review of that, I thought the KBDI numbers that we were using as trigger points were way too high. I've had a meeting with them. I've emailed all of y'all a copy of this in advance. We've reduced the numbers significantly on the KBDI triggers. But then again, I would like to point out this is not a law. It's not a rule. It's basically a policy that they agree upon. At any point, they could come back to us and tell us to pound sand, and we'd have no recourse on it. However, we have a fairly decent relationship with our fireworks vendors here in the county. I think the actions that they took on their own this year greatly reduced our fires that we responded to. Over the course of June 30th through July 5th, I think we had probably 18 fires that may have been contributed to fireworks use. In contrast, counties around us, Parker, for example, had an all-out ban on sale and use, and they had 88 fires on July 4th. So I think with our citizens here using better judgment and the goodwill of the fireworks vendors, we came out residential pretty much unscathed. I mean, we didn't lose any houses, we didn't lose any life, we didn't lose any property other than grass during July 4th weekend, and I think a lot of that was the fact that we're all working together. So,
well, I move that we accept the new KBDI indexes that you have as stated. We all got it. Okay. Motion been made by me, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Number 8, discuss and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to sign the Motorola Solutions contract to update the old Spillman investigation module to Command Central Investigate. IT?
Yes, gentlemen. This
Drew,
was
go ahead.
on.
Take it away.
This was on the last court, of course. However, there was a typo on the contract with the date. And so after getting back with Motorola, letting them know about that typo, they again updated the contract with the correct date. But it, of course, has to go back through court for approval and your signature, Judge.
Is that the only correction?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. Prices, everything else?
Everything is the same, just the date.
Okay. Do I hear appropriate motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make the motion to authorize county judge to sign the Motorola Solutions contract to update the old Spillman investigation module to Command Central Investigate.
Second.
Okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to accept the county judge to sign the new Motorola Solutions contract with that one correction. Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Very much. Okay, item number 9. Discuss and take appropriate action to authorize a county judge to sign the City of Granbury's event application approving the request for the historical courthouse parking lot and gazebo for the Brazos River Corvette Club Charity Car Show on Saturday, October the 8th, 2022, from 6:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., contingent upon proof of insurance. Do I hear a motion?
Judge, I'll make that motion to approve, or have you sign the event application to approve the request of the use of the historical courthouse parking lot and gazebo for the Brazos River Corvette Club Charity Car Show on Saturday, October 8th, 2022, from 6:30 to 4 p.m., contingent on proof of insurance.
Second. Motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to authorize the Corvette Club Charity Show, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Item number 10, consider and take appropriate action to award roadside mowing and landscaping. Glenn Tillman, take it away.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. So the bids for RFP 2022-4 were opened on August 31st at 10 a.m. After the evaluation of the 3 qualified responses, it's the recommendation of purchasing and road operations to award the contract to MGM Landscape Services.
Do I hear a motion?
Judge, I'll make a motion to award RFP 2022-004 to MGM Landscape Services.
Second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to award the roadside mowing, and second by Commissioner Wilson. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next, the hot mix asphalt concrete to Vulcan.
Yes. So this is a annual renewal of RFP 2019-9 hot mix asphaltic concrete to Vulcan Construction. It does come with a 32% price increase, which is very high, as we've seen with other petroleum products. Fortunately, this isn't a product that we use an extreme amount of. When this was first bid out in 2019, Vulcan was the only respondent to that bid, and their facility is close by, so it is a convenience in that respect. But we do request that you authorize this renewal.
It's really we don't have an option, do we? That's the only one.
Not a good one.
Okay, do I hear a proper motion?
I approve that we approve the annual renewal of RFB 2019-009 hot mix asphalt concrete to Vulcan Construction Materials with a 32% price increase.
A second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to award the contract to Vulcan Construction with the 32 price increase, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next, consider and take appropriate action to approve the annual renewal of the fire truck preventive maintenance to emergency apparatus with a price increase of 15%. Well, that almost looks like a bargain, 15% increase, doesn't it? But it's not. Go ahead. What do you think, Glenn?
Yes, so this is renewal of RFB 2018-4, and the 15% increase is on the materials used for those repairs and maintenance. And so we do request that you approve this renewal with price increase.
Okay, do I hear a proper motion?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the annual renewal of RFB 2018-004 fire truck preventative maintenance to emergency apparatus with a price increase of 15% on the materials.
Second.
Made by Commissioner Eagle to approve the annual renewal of the fire truck preventive maintenance with the 15% price increase, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Now, the next one, executive session, we're going to save that to the very last. So let's skip over 13 and go to 14. And that's to discuss and take appropriate action regarding the sale of 7603 Larry Court to the city of Lipan.
Yes, sir, Judge. This one was, we talked about it last time and wasn't real sure what to do on the prices. I've spoke to a couple of local realtors out there and asked them what would be about a going rate on this thing, and 3 different people said about $12,000 an acre. 6 acres, I'd like to say, or make a motion that we sell that piece of property to the city of Lipan for $72,000.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to sell 7603 Larry Court to the city of Lipan for $72,000. Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right. Thank goodness we got through with number 15 is moot and already signed. So that's going to 16. Number 16, discuss and take appropriate action to pay for the removal of emergency equipment, graphics, and removal of the in-car video system in the 2 2009 F-150 units being replaced in October, totaling $4,200 for rigging down old vehicles from Fund 55. The illustrious Mr. What is your name? I don't see this guy very often. Constable Jordan.
Judge, Commissioners, we have one vehicle that is dead and is unable to be driven because of the amount of work that to keep it going. I just found out also that the Crown Vic that we had transferred over to Precinct 2 has issues now with the transmission. So I think between those two vehicles now, we're looking at about $15,000 plus in trying to get them running, which is not conducive with the mileage and the age of the vehicles. These two trucks are being replaced. It's taken 1.5 years to finally get them. We have been told that we're the only two right now that the vehicles are being manufactured for, because the other trucks that the county's ordered are on back order. So we have one being built the 19th, one being built the 25th, and they should arrive in October for the final outfitting. But the two Fords to get ready is what we need to do with the camera systems and everything else for Dana. One of the things that we want to do also is all future purchases have this included in the price, so we know ahead of time and it's a done deal at one time, instead of having to come back and do this separately. One thing that I want to suggest and ask for is to change one of these Fords to the Crown Vic that is not running, and that the Ford be utilized by Precinct 2, because his truck is still, along with the DA's office, way on back order on getting those manufactured in here. So that's my recommendation, and I request it humbly.
Holy smoke. That makes sense. Okay, you want to make a motion?
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion that, well, is the price still going to be the same?
Yes, sir.
All right. That we approve the removal of emergency equipment, graphics, and in-car video system from one of the 2009 Ford F-150 and
a 2007 Crown Victoria.
2007 Crown Vic to be replaced in October, totaling $4,200 from Fund 55.
Second.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews for the removal of the emergency equipment for this, as stated. Second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries unanimously 4-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Constable Jordan. All right. Item 17, discuss and take appropriate action for additional funding to repair or replace failing HVAC units in county building. The illustrious Jay Riley. Mr. Riley.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. This is the project we've been working on since 19, replacing everything. So, again, I'm asking for another $75,000 in funding to replace the old and failing units. I went through the last amount. I believe we visited on May the 10th was when we did it the last time. Prices have gone up a lot. I'm trying to stretch it as far as I can. Some we're trying to not really replace right now. I'm trying to wait for the price to come down. But I do have a couple that I do need to replace right now. One of them's over the license renewal office. These are R22 units, cannot be repaired, can't get the Freon for them. They're just not worth putting any money at all in them. We've actually done pretty good because we've actually replaced right at 40 units. We've replaced 39 since we started this project. We've got 136 total. Out of that 136, there's probably around 100 of them are left that are R22 units. So we're stretching them and stretching them and stretching them. But I still think we're doing the right thing. As of date, we spent $464,000 and some change on replacing about the 40 units that we got. So we're getting there. Still think it's the right way to go. But
Hey, if we can drag this out long enough, we might be able to sell the R22 we can recapture out of them and pay for the unit.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just that, you know, there's other factors in this, you know, the manufacturing, the new laws that are going into effect, it's just eating us up. And there's it's a moving target, so I do believe we did the right thing, because had we entered in an agreement for about $3 million, then we'd be stuck with a whole bunch of stuff that's not even going to, you know, be compliant. So.
Right thing.
Yeah, we replaced about a third of them
I think you guys did the right thing by going this route. I really do.
Yeah, we were looking at, pretty good seven-digit money.
Yeah, so I think you guys did good, and if I could ask again, I'd
Vicki,
appreciate
where can we
it.
get this 75,000? 155. So I hear proper motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve additional funding of $75,000 from Fund 55 to repair and replace failing HVAC units in county buildings.
Second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Eagle to repair or replace the failing HVAC units in the county buildings out of Fund 55 for $75,000, second by Commissioner Wilson. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you,
All
gentlemen.
right, thank you. All right, good job. Number 18, discuss and take appropriate action to waive the $5 county driver's license fees for disabled veterans who meet the state of Texas requirements and have the required supporting documents for the state driver's license fee waiver. Do I hear a motion?
Okay, I move that we waive the $5 county fee for the driver's license for disabled vets who meet the state of Texas requirements and have the required supporting documents for the state driver's license fee waiver.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Wilson to waive the $5 county driver's license fee for disabled veterans who have the required supporting documents, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, next item, discuss and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to execute the signed location lease agreement with the Lamar companies. Okay. The Lamar companies, that's just a regular signage that we do on the billboard, isn't it? A regular renewal?
Yes, it's regular.
Regular renewal? All right, I move that we authorize the county judges to execute the signed location lease agreement with the Lamar companies.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right, number 20. Consider and take appropriate action to allow the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners the use of the north parking lot of Annex 1 and the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners Demonstration Garden on October the 1st, 2022 during the annual Romancing the Monarch Festival. That's a good deal. Looky here.
Good morning.
At least we got you in here before noon today.
Truly, I should have worn my wings. I'm
That's-
sorry.
I can
Good
see
morning,
your
Judge
wig.
and
Good.
Commissioners.
How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm Deborah Rollins with Lake Granbury Master Gardeners and Chairman of Romancing the Monarch Butterfly Festival, held every year the first Saturday of October in our demonstration garden located right over here by the parking lot. Romancing the Monarch Butterfly Festival is a year-long effort by Lake Granbury Master Gardeners to teach the community, demonstrate to them what we can do to roll out the welcome mat and welcome these endangered monarch butterflies to Granbury. We host the festival right in the middle of the mighty monarch migration as they're migrating from Canada down to Mexico. It's a really big deal for us to support and have the support of the city and the county to do this festival. So, of course, we need the parking lot adjacent to the demonstration garden. We'll have a couple of vendors. We do have one food truck, the Frog Juice Company, and Upper Trinity Groundwater Conservation District will also have a truck out there as an education booth and a porta potty. The event is Saturday, October 1st from 1:30 to 4, rain date. It's a four-letter word, I'm not going to say that, is Sunday the next day. So thank you very much for considering allowing us to use the parking lot.
This is very special. Thank you for all the help that y'all do in putting this project forward.
It's
Thank
absolutely
you.
our pleasure.
So do I hear a proper motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make a motion that we allow the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners the use of the north parking lot of Annex 1 and the Lake Granbury Master Gardeners demonstration garden on October 1, 2022, during the annual Romancing the Monarch Festival, and include that for rain delay purposes, October 2nd.
Great motion.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to allow the monarch butterfly to fly. I can see Lyndon back there just saying yes, right on. And second by Commissioner Wilson. Okay?
And
All
I
those
just want to say also, thank you, Commissioner Eagle and Judge, for your really kind consideration for the adopting the resolution.
Well, thank
for the
you
border
very
control.
much.
Thank
you. All right. Any further comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, the next and the last one is we're going to have to adjourn into a public hearing to discuss and consider revisions of the environmental health and collection station fees. And for that, we have the illustrious Jeannie Stacks. You're trying to increase fees on us, Jeannie?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I have some supporting documents to go with this.
Yes.
And this is just on the OSSF information. I also have some participation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is what we see, yeah. Okay. You going to explain why this is a good deal?
Yes, sir. Okay, y'all have the copy. Have y'all went into public hearing? I must have missed.
Do what now? I didn't understand what you said.
We need to go into a public hearing, I think.
Yes, I did say
Okay.
that we
Okay,
are
that's-
in
okay, I
a
thought
public
you-
hearing right now.
Thought he did, okay.
Okay, the current fees, which are this one that's highlighted in yellow for y'all. The current fees for residential OSSFs are $410. Hood County has had these fees in place since 2005. I also attached a document that showed the neighboring counties, or close counties. Bosque County is $435 for a conventional and $535 for an aerobic. I'm proposing $475 for residential, straight across. Erath County is $250 and $450. Somerville County is $350 and $350. Excuse me. And Johnson County is $375 and $425. So we would be comparable with those fees. I updated the commercial as to be rated on sized. I'm asking for Install without a permit to be counted as double fees. The lots that are in question in a lot of these subdivisions, they're the older subdivisions, they're very small lots, that some of them, the terrain is not quite what we would like. My office is having to do a physical inspection of every pre-site to approve it because of several lots that were purchased were actually drainage lots and were not allowed to be used. We're making sometimes 4 trips to one lot. I would like to add a pre-site inspection fee after the second visit. I would also like to add an annual aerobic registration fee. There are numerous counties around that do that, and that covers the time where you are entering the contract, you're entering the inspections, you are taking the time to mail a regular notice, you're taking the time to mail a certified letter if they do not comply. If they don't comply with that, then you're either making phone calls, emails, or we are sending an individual out to do a pre-site. At least some of the time that all of this is occurring, the county would have a chance to recoup part of the fees without it being 100% taxpayer. One of the documents you received shows the fees that we, as environmental health, have brought in. So it would give us a chance to recoup part of the other that we are lacking instead of requesting that the taxpayers shell out more money. Just an example, monthly we send 370 regular, on an average, send 300 in regular letters. That's at 53 cents a pop. On top of that, we're sending out approximately 50 certified letters. We have currently went to the 457 cost instead of paying the 782 cost because the post office is no longer ensuring that the green cards for certified mail get signed. I'm also requesting a $50 fee to be charged to the maintenance providers for each time they are in non-compliance. Some of the maintenance providers are backdating contracts. So if they backdate a contract 2 months, 60 days, to where the homeowner finally paid their contract after much pushing on our part, they are backdating it 2 months. So we would have one dated July. State law says they're required to give us that information within 14 days. So every time they try to backdate a contract, instead of starting that contract today or within 14 days, they're costing, we want to make sure they're doing the homeowners right. And if they're not turning in their paperwork in a timely manner, they're not doing everything right for the homeowner. And this gives us a chance to punish them. If you have 50 contracts at $50, after a little while, you're going to want to make sure you're turning the paperwork in to the county. Somerville County has a program similar to this that they just signed in June. I'll give y'all documents of that. Kaufman County is currently working up all of these same request. They're wanting to do everything they can to try to punish the maintenance providers and get them to do the jobs they're required to do.
I think you've got it. All right.
Well, and in all that we've talked about, the enforcement, I think, is the key on this thing. Now, did you say $50? Because I thought it was $25 for the non-compliance for
a
provider not turning in paperwork on time or backdating or whatever. Did you say 50?
Yes.
Is that the same as the non-fulfilled services fee?
A non-fulfilled services fee?
Yeah.
Yes.
Back there. Well, and I guess that was the Somerville County, I'm sorry, that was.
Does anybody here wish to make any comments since we're in a public hearing about these fees? We're about ready to close this. So let's close this and go back into Commissioners Court. We're back into Commissioners Court here at 11:30. I hear a motion to consider the revisions to the environmental health and collection station fees as proposed by Jeannie staff.
I move that we approve and consider the revisions that have been stated for the environmental health and collection station fees.
Second.
Been made by Commissioner Wilson to approve the revisions to the environmental health and collection station fees, seconded by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. There you go. Okay. All right. This allows us at 11:31 to convene into executive session to discuss the purchase of property located in Precinct 1.
I don't know as though we necessarily need to go into executive session on this. I think that we still need to, since we don't have a signed contract, I think we may still need to
We don't have.
right, we do not have anything, where'd Donald go? Oh, we don't have anything signed yet, do we? We do. Okay, so we've already committed this, so it's just up for us to do now. Okay, all right, okay, my misunderstanding there, okay. Then in that case, I'll just make the motion, Yeah, I make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign a purchase contract, closing documents, and any other documents necessary to complete the purchase of lots 1 and 12 of Rolling Acres subdivision in the adjacent 5-acre tract out of the G.W. Williams survey, abstract number 600, Hood County, Texas, from Fund 55, not to exceed $203,000.
Second that one.
Okay. So a motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to
Oh, did you turn everything off?
No.
Oh.
Okay, you didn't? Well, we're going back out of executive session here at 11:32, back into regular Commissioners Court.
I need to read that
No, you don't?
Okay.
We still heard it, so we got it. So your motion is to go ahead and purchase the property, second by Commissioner Eagle. So any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank you very much.